Barron Trump's journey through high school was nothing like the average teenager's experience. Growing up as the youngest son of Donald Trump, he was constantly surrounded by the media spotlight, which brought its own set of challenges. While his older siblings, Ivanka, Donald Jr., and Eric, were well established in the public eye, Barron had always preferred to keep a low profile. From a young age, Barron showed a quiet resilience. Unlike other teenagers who might have sought attention, Barron seemed to embrace his privacy, often retreating into his books and spending time outdoors. His high school years were marked by a need for normalcy in a life that was anything but. His schooling took place at the prestigious St. Andrew's Episcopal School in Maryland, a private institution known for its rigorous academics. Despite the challenges of being constantly scrutinized by the media, Barron managed to carve out a sense of individuality in the classroom. His teachers noted his intelligence, often praising his thoughtful insights and his ability to remain calm under pressure. Though he was known as the son of the former president, Barron preferred not to talk much about his family, instead focusing on his studies and soccer, his passion at the time. The first few years of high school were challenging in their own right. Barron often found himself as the subject of gossip and rumors among his peers, many of whom were fascinated by the fact that he was part of one of the world's most recognized families. However, he handled it with a quiet grace, rarely responding to the noise around him. Instead, he spent his free time playing soccer, often joining friends for casual matches on weekends. His high school years weren't filled with grand moments or drama. Instead, they were marked by an undercurrent of ambition. Barron had a unique perspective shaped by his family's history, and he used his time to focus on his future rather than dwelling on the past. His friends described him as reserved but kind, with a dry sense of humor that would occasionally catch people off guard. By the time he graduated, Barron had become more comfortable with his place in the world, though still fiercely protective of his privacy. He opted to attend the University of Pennsylvania, following in the footsteps of his father. But it was clear that Barron was determined to forge his own path. His decision wasn't about following a family tradition. It was about embracing a new chapter in his life, one where he could continue to learn and grow without the overwhelming pressures of fame. At Penn, Barron's personality truly began to shine through. He enrolled in a mix of business and economics courses, displaying a sharp mind for analysis and strategy. But what really stood out during his college years was his quiet leadership. Barron wasn't the loudest voice in the room, but his calm demeanor and ability to think critically in high-pressure situations earned him the respect of his professors and peers alike. Outside of the classroom, Barron participated in various campus activities, though he never sought the limelight. He joined a few smaller clubs, focusing mainly on issues related to business ethics and global economics. In a way, his college experience was a retreat from the world that constantly watched his every move. He was able to form lasting relationships with people who saw him as Barron, just another student with ambitions and aspirations, rather than the son of a former president. Throughout university, Barron's experiences were shaped not by his father's legacy, but by his own desire to make a difference in the world. His summers were spent traveling abroad, often studying economic systems in developing countries, a topic that fascinated him. He was particularly interested in the role that business could play in social change, and many of his essays centered around how businesses could balance profit-making with contributing to the global good. It was during these formative years that Barron began to find his true voice, not just as an heir to a powerful family, but as an individual with a vision of his own. His college peers saw him as focused, grounded, and determined to leave his mark in a way that was uniquely his. After graduation, Barron's next steps were far from certain. There were many who believed he would follow in his father's footsteps and enter the world of real estate or politics. But Barron had a different vision. He wanted to pursue a career that aligned with his personal values, one that allowed him to contribute to global development in a meaningful way. Though Barron's life was far from ordinary, it was his pursuit of a quiet but impactful existence that made his journey stand out. His years in high school and university weren't defined by the family name he carried, but by the person he chose to become. A young man focused on creating a future that wasn't influenced by fame or expectation, but by his own